Welcome to the Heart-Centered Entrepreneur Series. My name is Jody Maley, and I've been an entrepreneur and business owner for over 27 years now. Thanks for joining the podcast, and I can't wait to share with you tips and ideas on how to grow your heart-centered entrepreneur business. As a personality dimensions coach, I help entrepreneurs discover who they are at their core so they can have real and authentic sales conversations with their ideal clients. We all started or joined a business so that we can make an income on our terms. Whether you're just starting out in your entrepreneur journey or have been in sales for a while, the key to any business is sales and nurturing the sales relationship. So I invite you to sit back, relax, maybe even have your favorite drink and take some notes as we have fun delving in to learn more from the top 1% to 2% income earners who are making such a difference and impact for themselves and their beautiful teams. Their tips and ideas will uplift and inspire you in a heart-centered, authentic way to help lift you up, move you forwards towards your perfect dream and goal. So stay tuned to the end of each podcast as I will share a little gift from me that I know will get you inspired in your beautiful business.
All right. So today, are you an introvert and maybe you're scared of selling? This is Jody Maley with the Heart-Centered Entrepreneur Series, and I have a special guest today, Jenna Martin, who is an introvert, and I thought how fun to have her join in today. So today's topic, are you an introvert and maybe you're a little bit shy around selling? And I have, of course, a few stories to tell, and we'll get into it. And I have 3 tips around, are you an introvert and are you a little bit scared around selling? So I asked Jenna actually last night, I'm like, hey, do you want to join me on today's session to talk about this? Because with personality dimensions, a part of doing your quizzes and learning your assessment styles online, over the years, I've had quite a few introverts either join various companies with me, working with personality dimensions. But in the last few years, they've really been diving into the whole introvert, extrovert phenomenon. And it's actually been part of the online testing. And go figure, my friend Jenna has been, she turned out to be a high introvert, and I had no idea. So I thought, oh, let's have you on just to talk about this. And so I'm going to give you tip number 1 here. If you are an introvert, or if you have an introvert either on your team, or if you have an introvert as a client, and things. And Jenna can chime in here at any point, because here's tip number 1 when you are working with an introvert. And I know I just kind of broke the rule here a little bit, but I'll explain why with Jenna as well, because it's with her personality. Tip number 1, when you are working with an introvert or you are an introvert, is having them be a little bit prepared. And I'll tell you why I broke the rule with Jenna, because she's a blue introvert. So when I first met with one of my leaders, was a high introvert, and she really, really wanted to join one of my first companies I was with. And I'm going to call her Anne. I'm just going to pick a name here. And she was super, super shy. And with this was a party planning company. And so she had to do parties. She was scared spitless. And she was like, she had to do her first 6 shows. She was literally throwing up before the show. She didn't know what to do. And she was like, help me get over this, because she totally loved the products. She went to about 8 or 9 parties beforehand. And at the end, she came up to me super shy, super timid. And I knew she wanted to, join the company, but this was holding her back. And so I sensed she was an introverted type personality. And she was just like, I really want to do this, but she was holding back. And I knew she loved the products. So it wasn't the products. It was this introverted type personality. And so I said to her, let's meet for coffee the next day, away from people, right? So I knew this. So we met for coffee, and I said, what would it take? And so this was the prepared part. So I said, well, let's do this. Like, I can be here to support you. I can give you the tools that you need to do this. And so what we did for her, and she joined and she said, I trust you. Like, I've watched you. I've seen you do this. I think you could teach me. I've tried other things. They haven't worked well. But I'll do whatever you say. So what we did for her was we did cue cards, because this was back a zillion years ago. So we did cue cards. We wrote it out for her. And I said, let's just you're not going to be me. I tell dumb jokes, whatever. This is my story, like my style of doing things. And it works for me. It's not going to work for you. So what we did is we literally kind of did cue cards, and we made it easy for her. Like, how would you intro? What would you do with the products? How would you, we literally walked through, and I'm like, how many things do you think you could talk about? And she's like, maybe 3. I'm like, okay. So we literally did a couple rehearsals before her party. I went to her party. In fact, she wanted me to go for her first 3 parties. I'm like, that's cool. So I really spent the time preparing her. It was key. And you know what? She ended up being one of my best leaders. I get a little bit emotional. Didn't know that was coming.
Oh, Jody.
She became one of my best leaders. She signed up. Oh, who knew that was coming from the bird? But yeah, became one of my top leaders. She started signing up people. And I remember her saying this to people, like, oh my God, like I couldn't, and her first parties, by the way, she was like holding her cards like this. She was stuttering through it, but she got through those first couple parties. And then she even got on to, believe it or not, stages. She signed up people. She led teams. To this, I don't actually know where she is now, but she became awesome. And she was a high introvert. And you know what? Even as an introvert, you can do this too. You just need to be prepared. So that's one thing, that if you are an introvert, be prepared. And this is why I'm going to say I broke this rule a little bit with Jenna today, because she is blue. And so a blue personality, which is all about community and relationship building, which I knew Jenna is also a high blue. So let's talk about Jenna's beautiful business, because as a blue personality, she kind of hid the fact that she was an introvert. So
yeah,
I did not know. Tell us a little bit about you, Jenna, and what you do.
Yeah, so I apologize for my voice. I was sick a month ago, but in talking so much, it hasn't gone away. But hi, my name's Jenna Martin, and I love Jody Maley with all of my heart. I've known her for a while now, and I had a few clients in the beginning of my business, but she was actually the one who helped me pivot and really see that I had something. And then I just took off and bloomed from there. So if you're starting your business and you're not sure which direction to go in, or you just need some sort of validation or strategy, or just being in your presence, Jody, it changed everything. So I'll always be so grateful to you for that. But I basically started off my business, and it's now called Entrepreneurially Her. And we have a huge group, and it started off with nothing. I had no product. I had some ideas, but the group, I just invited people. I wanted to connect with women around the world. So even being an introvert. And so I grew my group to 5,000 members in 5 months. And now we're 30,000 strong. Which is really exciting. And I have 3 different branches of it, being an introvert, which is kind of crazy too.
Wow.
I have a virtual assistant support agency of sorts. I have ways you can have massive visibility. It's just opening up within the next day or two to be able to submit a blog post or YouTube video onto our channel. And I also have the 3rd branch, which is strategy and courses and all the things, from how to build a successful podcast to just everything you could think of. So Jody, I'm so grateful to have met that you're not only for that, but just for who you are as a person and friend.
Aw, thank you so much. And that was not scripted, by the way.
No.
I love it. And so the reason that I wanted Jenna to share about being an introvert too is that she really built her business through relationship building, which is her core personality, which is blue. And if you guys don't know what we're talking about, and you're like, oh, what are they talking about? They're talking about introvert and being blue and stuff. You know, if you're on LinkedIn, just go to the assessment part and just, just go on a conversation with me. Okay. For one thing, it's free to take an assessment just so I can learn about you and your beautiful business. And then we can go to this part of, of what it is. Okay. That's free. Okay. But learning your colors and all that, this is what I do. This is what I love. I've been doing this 21 years. And I sort of knew, or I thought I knew even Jenna's personality colors and stuff. But again, she double shocked me when she did her testing, because I thought she was a little bit more one personality trait. And then I even thought that she was a little bit more an extrovert and not so introverted as well. And when you kind of learn personality traits working with people, and you even learn introvert and extrovert. And a lot of people, Anne was an obvious extrovert. It was really easy to see working with her and how to treat an extrovert, like there's certain skills and how to bring them out of their shell. But some people, if you're sitting there going, oh, like an extrovert has a hard time even they sit outside a networking event, so scared to even step inside because they have this thing of, I'm not a people person and I can't walk in, and they take any opportunity to, I have to go to the bathroom, or I have to go outside, or, oh my gosh, it's my turn to speak. And, they take turns around the luncheon of getting up to say what you do and your heart's just beating, or even on Zoom calls where you're like, it's your turn on the Zoom and you're so worried about what you're going to say that you don't take the opportunity to actually listen in on what everyone else is saying, right? Raise your hands if you're an extrovert, an introvert, and you're going, but the truth is that there's a couple ways that you can alleviate it. And number one is that be prepared. So if you take the time just to practice that a little bit, and I don't really like scripts, but if you are prepared a little bit, and just what Jenna said, she was prepared. Like when I first met her, that's why I hired her with one of my first summits, which I was like, I need help. Actually, it was the second summit that I needed her help. The second summit ran the day COVID came out, literally the day of. And I saw that she ran this crazy group that she grew, like she said, from 0 to 5,000 in just a couple of months. And I'm like, okay, she knows Facebook. Help. And so she's a wordsmith, and maybe I should have guessed then that she was an introvert because she knew how to move people through messaging in a very centered, authentic way, right? And so we got people into a group really, really smoothly, and she just moves people authentically that way, which, go figure, as a blue personality, both ways. High introvert moves people into community. 2 good clues, by the way, if you're both of those. And so here's tip number 2, if you're an extrovert, is let an extrovert ask questions. Because if an extrovert or an introvert, pardon me, let an introvert ask questions. Okay. So if an introvert comes into your spectrum, or you have an introvert on your team, or you have an introvert who comes to a meeting and you know that they're an introvert, don't overtalk. Let them ask the questions. Because it took everything in them to be there.
Yeah.
It really, really did. So if they show up, let them ask questions and give all the introverts the information to how they can ask the question, because they're not going to be like, and by the way, I am on the introvert extrovert spectrum. I'm smack dab in the middle. So people, oh, you're such an extrovert. I'm not actually. I'm kind of right smack in the middle, so I relate to both equally. And by the way, an introvert and extrovert is not what people think. It doesn't mean you're allergic to people or you get along well with people. It's actually how you exchange energy. And so for my beautiful Jenna, it means that she regains energy by doing solo things like reading a book, connecting with nature. You notice behind her, what does she have? Fish.
Plants and fish.
Plants and fish in her bedroom, because that's her Zen room, right? That's actually how she regains energy, which I love. But get for introverts, let them ask the questions. Okay, let them be able to. So if you're on either a Zoom call, first thing that you would want to say to people is, if you have questions, put them into the direct messages, like put it into the chat. Put it into, if you're watching this on the replay, so if you're watching this on Facebook, put any questions that you have into the chat and we will get back to you for sure. Like direct message Jody if you're too shy to put the questions in there, because a lot of introverts, maybe they don't want other people knowing. Maybe they think it's a dumb question, which, by the way, no question is dumb. And if I don't know the answer, which probably I don't, I don't know everything, believe it or not, that's fine. Okay. And do you have any questions, Jenna, or anything you want to put into there? Does that sound right?
Yeah, no, well, I can definitely relate to like feeling more comfortable going through chat versus like putting myself out there. So for a lot of like clients, they'll have so much fun using audio in the chats and then I'm typing away on the other side. But that's how I conserve my energy, and that's how they conserve their energy for them by not typing. So I can definitely relate to just feeling more comfortable asking things more behind the scenes versus like that upfront or that immediate conversation. Just having the chance to kind of like find my framework, think of what I want to say, and then presenting it in that way or asking them that way.
Actually, that's a really good point that you just made, is that even how people respond could be an indication of which one are they, an introvert or extrovert.
True. Yeah.
Because extrovert would probably want to respond through a voice.
Mm-hmm.
An introvert will probably want to respond by typing. And again, even working with Jenna, like I'm like, oh my God, can you just get on a Zoom with me or whatever?
Yeah, that's true. I'm like, just give
right?
me
And now that I know that Jenna is a high introvert, I'm going to respect that boundary with her a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? And now vice versa. She knows too that, oh, maybe Jody, like if I'm saying, like I'm stuck and I need to get on a Zoom, it creates that we know a little bit more about each other too.
Yeah, so I definitely don't mind hopping on a call, but for me to do it instantaneously is really hard for me, even if I love and adore someone, which is how I feel for you. So,
yeah.
But I definitely offer the next available time, and I do again, it's introversion's like not where you hate connecting with people. It's just you need more relaxation behind the scenes. So, but once I'm on the call, I'm so excited and so ready to connect and understand. And so it's not a negative thing. It's something I have to gear up to, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that it's a gear up. It's
Mm.
a regenerization.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so when people go like exactly, it's not that you don't love people, it's that you don't love connecting because you're blue. So for you, it literally is all about relationship building and connection, but it's how you gain back your energy. So you have to think about it as people who are high extroverts actually gain back their energy by having a coffee with a friend. Like they gain back their energy by being around another person. It's like that energy is like zhoo, 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 zhoo. And then a person who is a high introvert gains back their energy by being in nature or reading a book or self energy. That's all it is.
Yeah, you made me realize, that if I hop on, like, if everyone could, they'd say, Jen, I need you for this, this, and that. I would be so drained by the end of the day,
Yes.
even though I would love to.
And so if someone's watching this and they're going, oh, and so for high introverts, you literally can't do, if you're running a business that you are hopping on a lot of Zooms, and even for myself, because I'm smack dab in the middle, I literally do 15-minute meet and greets, like coffee Zooms, but I also put a half-hour spacer in between.
Yeah.
So for me, because when I was doing them back to back, like when I was hosting summits and things like that, where I have to do 25 interviews, and I'm the type of personality that I also like doing them all in 2 weeks and just getting them all done and they're fresh, then I can't do them all in the morning. And so it would be like a half-hour space, then the next. Like I literally do have to have that in between time. And then once I did that, I was like, oh, however, a high extrovert could do an hour, 5-minute breaks, come back and then do another. Some people can thrive on that and be re-energized.
Yeah.
I however, cannot. You could not.
Right. It also allows for the planning too. I realized that was your first tip, is if I can say I can't do it right now, but I can do it in 2 hours or I can do it tomorrow, it gives me time to get in that framework and like plan for what might happen and what I might say that might help best. And then I feel less drained because I feel more ready. So everything you're saying is making light bulbs go off for me.
Yay! Absolutely. I love it. All right. And then tip number 3. So the first tip was being a little bit prepared, like Anne, if you need to make notes, however you want to do it. Again, I'm not really big on scripts, but if you are a super, super introvert, be a little bit scripted and practice a little bit. So if you're having high anxiety going into a Zoom or whatever, be a little bit prepared. That's all. Practice it a little bit. Practice it with a friend, just say, because when you have that off your plate and you're comfortable going in of what you're going to say, then you can actually relax. Let's say on a Zoom call where you're getting to know other people, then you can actually relax a little bit and actually take part of what other people are saying, because that's what you're there for, is not just to say what you are doing, but actually listen to and enjoy to what other people are doing and their beautiful businesses, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And then this comes to number 3 tip, which is give permission for that high introvert. Give them permission to take a break and then come back. So that's the other thing too.
I love that.
Right?
Yeah.
Like give them permission if you are in an all-day working event with someone, or if it's a longer 2 or 3 hour meet and greet or whatever it is. But if you know that there's introverts in the room, like even if it's a lunch thing, with the lunch break, give them permission to go out and take a walk in nature and come back if that's part of your lunch. Like, you don't have to sit and be with people all day. Like, give them permission to go off, just lay in the grass, then come back, like re-energize yourself and however you need to re-energize yourself and come back. Because even when I would do 2 or 3 day events, and everybody, because I knew this, at lunchtime or breaks or whatever, people wanted that little bit of extra of me at lunch. And I would be, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but I literally need just to go and take my lunch break in my room by myself. It doesn't mean I don't love you, beautiful people, or even for dinners or whatever. And I'd be like, I'm not partaking in dinner, but I'm going to come back after and have like a nice glass of wine with people or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Because I needed that regenerizing for myself. It was important. But the more upfront you were with people, then the better the flow was, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. One thing that's really helped me in setting those boundaries is, instead of saying sorry I can't, or sorry, like almost being apologetic for trying to do some self-care, I found that what really helped me for that was just saying, I'm really happy to, here's when I can do it. Or if they wanted something huge that I couldn't provide, I'm really happy to, we have a lot, I might say some qualifying or whatever the word is thing, like, I have a lot going on at the moment. I could do this piece for you tomorrow. And just really like honor your truth and what you need to keep going and run the ship, and be happy in your life. Yeah.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
Well, so those are your 3 tips. So if you are an introvert, I hope that this kind of gives you a little bit more information about how you can run your beautiful business, work with other introverts, and maybe give you a little bit of a permission slip to just be you and let other people know. But it is more about not raising your energy, but being okay with your energy and how you gain it back. So again, those 3 tips were just be a little bit more prepared. What was the second one? So be prepared, ask questions, and how can you ask those questions? And sometimes you can even ask those questions after too, right? Like it could be ask the questions during the event or ask them after, because sometimes I feel like with introverts too, maybe you're like, I can't ask the question during, and then after you leave the event, you're like, oh man, I wish I'd asked that during the event, and then you're maybe too shy to ask it after. Feel free. It's okay. In fact, the person putting on the event, it's okay. They want you to continue to ask questions even after. Oh, Jaja says, so good. Thanks.
Thanks.
Nice to know somebody's watching. And then the third tip is give permission for those introverts to leave, regenerate, and then come back, because they need that.
Yeah. And today I definitely shared things that I do that just sounds like I'm pulling back all the time, but the pulling back is to then come back and have the maximum amount of impact. So I just really want to share that and empower everyone who is an introvert with that you can still have a huge lasting impact while being, partially behind the scenes. Like, you can still empower thousands of women and create huge businesses that connect women around the world, or that maximize visibility, whatever you're doing. If you honor how you're feeling and give yourself that space, you can then come forward with the almighty force and make so many things happen, so many beautiful things. And so it's not like you're just hiding all the time. It's you're respecting your own boundaries to then come back and have this beautiful influence to the people around you, or support or transformation or whatever you're providing. So I didn't want to make it sound like I'm just hiding all the time, or that introverts just hide all the time. They're actually doing that to really come forward strongly, and to use, like, do the planning and be set up in a way that they can really, really help people. So just honor that within yourself for sure. And Jody, thank you. Just taking your assessment, like, I had done a lot of things in my business that I had just self-validated. I just decided this isn't the norm, but I'm just going to go for it. But then in taking your assessment, it validated that I was actually doing the right thing for who I was. And I didn't even know it. I thought I was like not doing it the right way, and just kind of doing my best again to support as many people as possible. But it ended up I was doing the right things in order to accomplish that. And it was so healing to have that validated. I could say so many things about that assessment too. I came out as blue. And so if you take Jody's assessment and come out blue, part of it is just speaking from the heart. They all have heart. But I also found in being an introvert, a blue introvert, with the authenticity and, needing that time to recoup. If I got nervous, I would just speak from the heart. That was the easiest thing to do. If I didn't have time to plan, if I didn't have time to rest, and all the things that I would want to do to be prepared, that blue aspect of me came through, where I'm just here to serve.
Yeah.
And that has so much power and energy behind it. Even if you're having a moment of being an exhausted introvert, once you learn your color from Jody, there's ways to, like, get, excuse me, to get through and still do everything you want to do.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
And thank you for that. Of course, I think everyone should, take the free assessment, and then we'll go from there as to whether or not we should work together, for sure.
Yeah.
But even when we met years ago, Jenna she wasn't making money from her group. She is now making money from her group. And as a blue personality, she didn't want to make money from her group. She was
that wasn't the plan. That's right. I had no product.
Yeah, she was just kind of like, oh, like, I'm creating a community. And I'm an orange personality, by the way. And I was like, you should be making money from that. People are expecting it. And she's like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, they are? And I'm like, yes, they are. The people. And so it was kind of funny, because it was a conversation we had. And then a couple of months later, she goes, oh, by the way. And then I saw that she was putting a charge to it. And I was one of the first people. I was like, handing her some cassiola. So it was kind of a funny conversation, but it was like, yes. And so I'm so happy that has grown into a stream of income for you as well. So she's now shown people, how you can grow your groups. And are you at 32, 35? What is your group? Your one bigger group.
Hovering around a 32, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Which is amazing. And so again, I had no idea that you were such a high introvert and a blue personality. It's wonderful. It's wonderful that you've grown such an audacious, beautiful, heart-centered group. All right. So thank you again for being on here. I knew that you would be open and honest and authentic. And like I said, I broke a few rules having you on here, but I just wanted that from the heart, because I knew your blue personality would be open and honest with that. And like I said, I had no clue how an introvert that you were. And I'm like, oh, this could be a great conversation for people, just to showcase, that you can be a high introverted person and a blue personality, and actually, go leaps and bounds in a beautiful business. So thank you for being here, Jenna. Go ahead and take the personality or the assessment. Here on LinkedIn, the link is right there. I think I only take assessments Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. And then if you are on Facebook, just put the word assessment and we'll make sure that we get you the link. All right. Thank you for the pocket coaching today. And we will see you guys next week. Bye for now.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned a lot. Each one of my guests have a special and unique spot in my heart as they have shared what they love about their business and how they truly have grown in their entrepreneur journey. Thanks for sticking around to the end, and I would love to gift to you a fun and easy quiz that you can take right now that will help you assess how you feel about the sales process in your beautiful business. Building relationships, lifting each other up so we can all gain more in our lives and our business is what is truly important to me. And my hope is that in some small way, I've been able to do that for you today. So again, this is Jody Maley with the Heart-Centered Entrepreneur Series here in beautiful BC, Canada. Truly have a great and inspired rest of your day. The link to the quiz will be attached below. And please like, follow, and share this podcast if it inspired you today.